Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness, presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Trusted advisors in the game, Keith and Yonna Smith, the Yes Team Realtors. Judah Wickower is our director. Studio camera, my friend Judah Wickower, 8 years and counting at I Love CVille. Keith Smith, the star of the show. He's also known as the Distinguished Gentleman. He's also known as Batman. He's also known as a 8-figure realtor. Keith Smith. Good morning, my friend.
Whoa.
How about that intro?
Yeah. Goodbye.
I can follow you around if you want. Eight-figure realtor. I can follow you around, dog.
Yeah, no. It's not me. It's my wife and I.
It's big time.
Yeah.
Good morning, my friend.
Yeah. I was just thinking, 8 years. Judah, you've been putting up with him for 8 years?
8 years and counting.
There's a special place in heaven for you.
There is. There is.
Yonna feels the same way.
About you?
Yeah. No,
Yeah?
I'm only kidding. So, hey, man, this probably we'll save our routine,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, for after we speak to Elizabeth. I know she's got a pretty short schedule with us today, and she just wrapped up a pretty awesome meeting with one of our senators. But I'm super excited about bringing Elizabeth back. As you know, I was, in a small way, part of this Project Rebound, and I just love to hear from Elizabeth, how's it going? How's the reach out going? We've got a couple of links that Judah will bury into the feed as we're chatting with Elizabeth. And then, they won this awesome award, and I want to give her some kudos in front of all this following that Mr. Miller and I Love Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And 12 million Instagram people.
12,100.
I had the
Yeah,
12,
12,100. Third largest one in Charlottesville.
At the 12.
Behind
right.
UVA in the city of Charlottesville.
Anyway, she's a superhero. We joke around about Batman and Robin, but she's actually a real superhero, and she's really getting stuff done. So
She's the president and CEO of the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce.
exactly right.
Elizabeth Cromwell, in 2 minutes. You saw a hopping scene in downtown Charlottesville.
I did, and you might be spot on. It might be the students. Normally I arrive for our
Pre-production meeting.
A few minutes.
People only knew.
People only know. Right? And they think this is coffee.
It actually is coffee from MarieBette.
Yeah.
Yonna told me to keep you in line.
I'm sorry. So there was a line out the door, which was cool. It was great to see. I was excited about it, but I didn't budget that into my timing to come here, so I had to hoof it pretty quickly from MarieBette over here. But also when I walked past the pie chest, there was a line out the door. Not necessarily like a line out the door, but people were waiting outside to come in. So
something that caught your attention in COVID, right?
It caught my attention.
Yeah.
I've been walking that walk since
2 years.
Well, I've been walking it since COVID,
Yeah.
twice a week,
Right.
And it's great to see that, and maybe since Project Rebound is about reopening, maybe Elizabeth can share some particular details. And you're smiling, which can never be a good thing.
I know. I just enjoy my time with you guys.
Oh, I don't know, but people don't. I mean, I say this all the time. I don't know what he's looking at over there. So
put your comments in the feed for Keith Smith, the Distinguished Gentleman. Give the show a like and a share for Elizabeth Cromwell,
Please.
Of the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Please.
A plug for Roy Wheeler Realty Company.
Yeah, wouldn't be sitting here without him. That's without a doubt. Michael Guthrie is just an awesome guy, and looking forward to moving forward and keep on keeping on.
Roy Wheeler Realty Company, a trusted advisor in the game. Elizabeth Cromwell is on the line. Elizabeth, we want you to activate that fantastic camera so we can see your beautiful face, your super exercise physique. This person is super fit. She's the president and CEO of the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce. Her name is Elizabeth Cromwell. She looks absolutely beautiful. You are live for everybody, Elizabeth. Before we talk shop, and Keith is so excited to welcome you here, how about a catch-up with you, EC? How's COVID been? I mean, what have you been doing? I mean, every day is a different day for all of us, right? How about Elizabeth Cromwell's world?
Well, thank you for inviting me. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Great. Well, the first thing I want to say is you are totally full of baloney. I'm not in great shape at all. So that's how my is going. But
she was working out with a personal trainer at ACAC. I would see her all the time, and she was doing reps. I'm like, I got to keep up with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That is over, my friend.
I know.
But I'll get back to it. soon. But everything's going well. There's just, it's, in a weird way, it's the best of times and the worst of times, and it depends on who you're talking to, and it depends, what time of day it is. But there's a lot of challenging, tough stuff happening, but there's also some really exciting work going on in the community.
We're so excited to spotlight that. I'm going to pass you over to Keith Smith, a.k.a. the Distinguished Gentleman, a.k.a. Batman, a.k.a. the recovering developer, Keith Smith, now with Elizabeth Cromwell on the I Love CVille show, on the I Love CVille Network, powered by the Yes Team Realtors. Keith, the show is yours.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see me over there past all this highly technical. There you go. You have to pull it just a little bit down towards you. No, the top.
Throw a question to her, Keith.
Throw questions
People
to
are
her.
watching.
People are watching. He's a pain in the butt today, isn't he, Elizabeth? Really, doing all this stuff about Batman and Fit. But anyway, hey, thank you for doing this. Thank you. I know you have a packed day today, so what I wanted to do was just catch up. You sat across this table some months ago, and when we started trying to do this COVID-19, and the beginning of COVID-19 is Project Rebound. So bring us up to speed. How people can get information and how's it going. And then I really want to give you guys some kudos.
Well, thank you. And you've been such a great champion in helping us spread the word about what we're working on. So Project Rebound is at a point in time now where, as many of you know, we had a very intense kind of early period in April and May where we were hosting meetings by Zoom to collect as much information as possible from the business community about urgent pressing needs, what they cared most about, where the biggest pain points are, and where there might be some shared needs that we can work on together as a business community. And some of those needs were somewhat obvious, but others weren't. We also recognized that industries had very different views of the COVID situation, although there were some overarching shared concerns like childcare, for example. That is a universal across all industries. Anyway, so we took all this information in, and then we were able to build it into a report. And right now, I'm at the point where we are addressing some of the opportunities in the report, trying to figure out in the community kind of who's already doing what, so that we don't reinvent the wheel or duplicate anybody else's efforts. And I really think the Chamber's role and opportunity is not so much to be leading the effort on a lot of these initiatives, but to be almost like the master plan, kind of the one place where people can go if they are working on some things, where we can plug it into this big sort of grand plan of what we're trying to accomplish.
So, Judah, can you put up slide 1? What surprised you the most? Like, what one or two things that in this process? I know I was on the infrastructure team, and there was a couple of things that popped up that surprised me that I didn't expect to hear. So, what surprised you? What's something you didn't expect to hear that was your aha moment? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if it was an aha moment, but I think one thing that surprised me quite a bit and has been different from some other locales around the country is I don't think we've had this universal rush to reopen in the way that some other cities have. And I think, for the most part, this business community has been pretty collaborative and pretty cautious. I think people here very much care about their staff. I think from the early days, what we were seeing was kind of a crisis in confidence in 3 different areas. There was customer confidence, there is workforce confidence, and there is kind of, can I keep my business open confidence. But I think this community has been more cautious and thoughtful about getting reopened the right way rather than opening the doors wide and then having sort of a relapse and closing the doors and then reopening again, which has happened in other places and frankly is probably the most devastating from a business standpoint.
So, I kind of was the same thing with me. Everybody was like, in other parts of the country went from, phase one to nothing.
Sunbelt states, Georgia, Florida.
Yeah. And it's funny, I just was chatting with Jerry before we came in. I stopped in at MarieBette as I normally do to get my pre-show coffee and chat. And there was a line out the door, but John, the guys over I can speak English today. The guys over at MarieBette, they constantly are telling me that they're staying at phase two. And some of the other folks that I'm talking to, they're really just staying at phase two, and they're just waiting for that to catch up. Are you seeing that with some other businesses?
I am. I think we're fortunate that this business community so far seems to be adaptable to each other that way. Like, there are other business communities where the neighboring businesses are at each other's throats. Where one restaurant is next door to another and they're not following the same protocols, and is causing a lot of strife in some other places. I haven't seen that at all in this area. So I think it's wise. I think it's, it's not easy, that's for sure. But I think it's wise to re-enter the market in a very safe way. And everyone seems to be fairly consistent on that.
So as you know, you were kind enough to put me on the infrastructure. I was voluntold, I think.
Voluntold.
If I remember this correctly. I may be wrong. One of the things we talked about which was near and dear to my heart, this green tape versus red tape. And we talked about a little bit in our small group about seeing if there's some, out of this, could be some more partnership between the public and the private. Has that gotten any traction? Is anything coming forward that we can talk a little bit about today on the show?
I would say not yet. And so where we are right now is we're really trying to engage all of the different stakeholders in this report. It's 100 pages long. There's probably 140 different ideas within this report, all of which were generated at those meetings. And I think what we're trying to do right now is get a better handle on some things that are already in process. And so I think as we roll into the fall, that's when we're really going to start to identify where the gaps are, where things aren't happening, and try to maybe identify some organizations or people to take leadership roles in some of those areas. Now, some of them may not be as urgent as they were. The meetings we had were a snapshot in time very early in the COVID situation. And so some of the concerns related to testing, for example, those concerns have kind of changed a little bit as we have learned more about, our situation. So we're also kind of refining and moving into the next phase of what those needs are.
Well, as you know, I'm always ready to get voluntold. So anything I get.
Don't tell Yonna.
Yeah, don't tell my wife.
Yeah, don't tell Yonna. She's watching.
Oh, geez. I'm in trouble now. Thank you, Elizabeth. Anything I can ever do to help, we're always here to do that. So I want to talk a little about this awesome award that you guys got. This facilitation has impact. But it's funny. So my takeaway from being part of that process was just that, was how this was facilitated, how you guys put this thing together so quickly and partnered with UVA, right? And, I was a little bit skeptical when I first joined in, going, oh my God, there's all these folks, and how are we going to get anything accomplished? It could not have been anything further from the truth. It was super effective. And matter of fact, I'm not too proud to say this, I stole a lot of your ideas for other meetings to facilitate it. But let's talk about this award, because this is huge, man. This is only 3 entities in the whole United States gets this, and we're one of them. So you started talking about how Charlottesville's a little bit different. This is proof.
Yeah. Well, I am so thrilled about this award, and it's it's being awarded to the chamber. But I have to say that the chamber's role in all of this was knowing that we were kind of in over our head when we had hundreds of people respond who said that they wanted to help with Project Rebound. And the incredible folks at UVA Organizational Excellence, I didn't even know they existed, honestly, but they were there to help. And they said, let us help you facilitate these meetings. And to be honest, they had never done anything quite like this either. I mean, a lot of the people that we were that were participating, we had to get to download Zoom.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So never even participated in anything like
What's
this.
Zoom?
And I don't think that UVA Organizational Excellence had either. You would never know it. But I have to tell you, they were incredible, and they spent so much time before the meetings crafting, hours and hours crafting how to make the best use of this limited time. And then after the meeting, documenting everything in just an unbelievably complete way.
I gotta say, you almost, God forbid I even say this, you almost say, okay, well, hold it. Do we actually need to go back to person meetings? We can accomplish some awesome stuff doing this. And my takeaway from this, other than the individual, me geeking out on infrastructure, because, heck, that's where I needed to go. But so many people are so down on the university and the city, and they're not talking to one another. This is an example that's not necessarily true. They really stepped up, and the cooperation between the university and the chamber and the business community and the city as a whole and the area as a whole. And I just think that needs to get out there, and that's hopefully what I'm trying to do here is folks are like, university, city. Man, I'll tell you what, that could not have been more.
What is UVA Organizational Excellence? Elizabeth, I went to UVA, I've been in Charlottesville 20 years, and I've never heard those three words together in my life.
That makes three of us.
Seriously.
Well, I learned about them too. So UVA Organizational Excellence is a program within UVA that is led by Sarah Colley. It was founded and is led by Sarah Colley, who was the main point person for Project Rebound, along with Mary Brackett and Reed Thompson. And they exist within UVA to help the university operate under full capacity and with excellence from within, I think. They are, I believe, professional facilitators, but they do a lot more than that. And so they're kind of a support organization within UVA that I'm not surprised that none of us have heard of, but they've been doing some pretty monumental stuff within the university. And I have to say, Keith, to your point about stealing ideas, they have ruined me from meetings ever after.
Elizabeth, that was funny.
I have tried to copy what they do, but they're so good at it that I just, I can't do it. So when this opportunity came along, it's the International Association of Facilitators to talk about the actual art of facilitation to create sort of measurable impact and results in a community. It just seemed like the perfect award, and so we're just thrilled that they thought so too. And so we were honored with the award. We don't know if we're getting platinum, gold, or silver yet. So we find that out on October 26th at a virtual awards event.
Well, the simple fact is that there's only three, and we're one. I'm a Marine. I can handle three, right? There's only one. Whichever one you're gonna, you're gonna get a color one way or the other,
yeah,
right?
Big time.
So offline, I wrote a note down. I'm going to have to bug you for the contact information because I think there's a show there to get the word out about what they do over there at UVA. So I'll bug you after the show. So what kind of this is a facilitation impact. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on your organization? Do you think this is going to help you grow your organization, help you bring on new members? This is a big deal.
Well, I hope so. I think to me, the larger piece of this is not really what it does for our organization, but what it does for our community. Because Project Rebound really was and still continues to be a community-led, very sort of grassroots initiative. And many of the people involved with Project Rebound are not members of the chamber, although I am hoping to
recruit them.
Prove the point. Yeah, to prove the point that if you believe in what we're trying to accomplish here, we're a private organization with no government funding. So, this membership is how we make things happen. But yeah, I do hope that we will be able to adapt our new strategic plan, which we had just approved in March, to sort of meld some of the goals of Project Rebound and some of the ideas that came out of that report into our own strategic plan, because there's a ton of overlap and it makes a lot of sense. So for me, it's a very helpful document, and it was a very helpful kind of window into the hearts and minds of our business community at a time when it was so urgent.
So the next 2 months, and I couldn't think of a better person to help us start kicking off the first couple of series. Last Tuesday, we had Mark from Ragged Mountain Running Shop on. We're doing a Tuesday series of promoting local businesses. So the second phone call you're going to get from me is, hey, who do you think we can bring on the show on that? But I want to talk about what you guys are going to do in September. That's huge. You guys are doing Minority Business Month. And that's slide number 3, Jude, if you don't mind. If you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about that's a big thing coming up next month.
Sure. Actually, I can't see what you have on your slides. Do you have some events up there? Is that
yeah, so this was, I stole it off your website. Sorry. So we're doing, this is the city of Charlottesville's doing Minority Business Month, and you guys are promoting it. It's part of what you guys are doing. Am I misreading that?
No, we are partnered through our Minority Business Alliance. That is one of the roundtables of the chamber. And we have participated in quite a bit of interaction between the city's Minority Business Program and the Minority Business Alliance. And we do have a series of events and speakers, all kinds of activities. And this is the second, at least the second year that I'm aware of, that we have participated in this shared programming. And all that information is available on our website. I think the next event we have is creating your financial narrative. Let's talk about money.
Oh, that's a fun subject.
Host David. Yeah, there are a lot of really great speakers through the Minority Business Alliance, which is probably, I would say, the most active roundtable of the chamber, or certainly one of the most active. So yeah, we invite you to get involved in all those events.
So the reason I brought it up is that's what we're going to be doing in the next series of Tuesdays. So we have several minority businesses coming. Particularly, one of them is my sister who owns a, I don't know, I'll get myself.
Hairsmith and Company on Market Street, where you can get the best haircut in Charlottesville. Hairsmith and Company on Market Street.
A marketing guy, right?
Yeah.
You know, you probably do. You remember Max Headroom? The MTV thing.
I do.
When he does that, I just got to think of that.
I have no idea.
And that money, I got it to laugh.
I have no idea who that is.
You have no idea.
That's a generational gap right
this
there.
This is a 1980s MTV. You know,
okay.
So that you know.
I was in my mother's womb.
MTV actually played videos at one point in time. We should get that Max Headroom kind of thing. Yeah, that'd be fun. Elizabeth knows what I'm talking about. So we're actually, so she's a minority business owner, so we're gonna bring her on, and I'm gonna have to put a seatbelt on because she knows probably a little bit too much about me. So we'll see how it goes. So look, I promised you I would get you out between 10:40 and 10:45. I know you got a very packed day. Anything you want to share? Again, congratulations. This is a huge thing. This award that you guys won. Anything you want to share?
Well, first of all, thank you for all you do to promote businesses. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. And so I want to salute you too. And I think probably the one thing that I'd like to convey that you touched on already is that Project Rebound, I think for us, has been a real opportunity to join forces with the city, the county, and UVA offices of economic development. And I think you will find that we consistently are supporting each other. We're finding a lot of shared goals and opportunities. Project Rebound wouldn't have been possible without, the county, for example. They provided scribes for every one of those meetings. The city provided some funds for the Project Rebound toolkits so that we could give out face masks. There are just so many ways that we have partnered, and we've built a lot of trust among those organizations. And so I want to thank them, because there's no way we could have done anything like this without all of us working on it together.
So by nature, we're positive people, right? We're always looking at the positive side of things, and as unforeseen crisis COVID-19 is, what you just said brings me hope, right? So there was people that maybe weren't talking to each other are now starting to talk to each other.
Historically, we're not talking
not talking to each other.
Right.
Yeah. So even if nothing happens further from this plan, the fact that happened and there's still conversations going on is just, pretty awesome stuff. So congratulations to you. Is there any questions from the feed that we want to follow?
I mean, there is, but we have 22 seconds to get Elizabeth out here.
Can you give us a little bit more time? Or
22 seconds. She's busy gal.
Sure.
There you go.
Well, one of the questions coming in the feed, Elizabeth, is your take on students returning to Charlottesville.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What is my take on students returning to Charlottesville?
Yep, UVA students coming back to Charlottesville. That's one of the questions coming in from business owners on the feed.
Well, I certainly want them back. I am not of the mindset that they shouldn't be here. I want them here, but I do think that every effort needs to be made in terms of safety, and I do think kids are kids and are going to make some big mistakes, and we're going to have to, deal with that. But I want people to come back to Charlottesville.
Me too.
There you go. Good for you.
Amen. You feel the same, Pete?
Yeah, I do. We talked about this yesterday a little bit, you and I come from a very different perspective. At these kids' age, I was in the United States Marine Corps. If I did something wrong, I ended up in the brig, right? So, but I believe in the best of folks. I think you're going to have a few rotten apples. I think they're going to get called out. I think what you're really going to see is the rest of the students going, hey, I think you're going to
policing themselves.
I think you're going to see that.
I hope so.
I really do. But I believe in the best of people, and these kids are smarter than. I mean, there'll be a couple of and then the parents, I think at some point in time are going to get involved, right, and go, hey Johnny.
And I have to say, I think being a university administrator or a person on a local school board or school superintendent has to be the toughest job in the world right now.
Sure.
And so I whatever they decide, I will question if I need to question, but I'm not going to second guess, because it's got to be just a terrible spot to be in. Every decision you make is not going to be the right one for somebody.
So we have a history on this show for we've been doing this nearly
2 years and change.
2 years, right? We don't do this. Right, we don't point fingers, because when you do that, 3 of them are pointing back at you. So if somebody is really, you're spot on. The same thing with local elected officials, right, and folks that are working at the school level and the university level. They're honestly trying to do the best that they can. We all fall short. I know I do every day. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you're awesome.
Thank you. I'll call you after the show.
Hey, you have a good one, Elizabeth. It's great to see you. Take care.
Take care.
All right, Elizabeth Cromwell, boys and girls. She's absolutely fantastic. I'm a huge fan of her in the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce and what she's doing with Project Rebound. Judah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up Wi-Fi over here, and then I'm going to start the IG feed over here.
Oh.
You're going to jump on set and to get Keith on board. Your thoughts on Project Rebound from what you experience?
Well, it's interesting. I experienced some awesomeness, but until we did this interview, there was a couple of parts of it that really didn't come together until we had this conversation.
Okay.
And, though when I was doing the program, you would have different people from the city and the university and the county, right? And businesses, but I never really put that together. This is probably the first time this has ever happened.
I mean, it's
at this level.
Sure. I mean, it took a pandemic that's never been seen ever for it to happen, but the first time it's been seen. Give me some experiences that you had right there.
Experience with doing the program or experience with the interview?
Both. No, with the program.
So I think what the program was my focus was on infrastructure, right? And infrastructure not necessarily meaning water and sewer and roads. It was more about, how we can get...
Focus here.
Focus here.
You got this.
My attention deficit syndrome. Judah, he's not being nice to me.
I am being nice. I'm just trying to help streamline the situation.
Judah, he's not being nice to me. Alfred, we need to fix this. Staying out of it? Good for you. So the reality, I think you need me to turn this down a little bit, right?
You're good. You're good. He took care of you.
There you go. Focus, Smith, right?
Oh, I'm trying, Keith. I'm trying.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, so, we were more talking about how to resolve this red tape, green tape, right? And I kind of shared some of my experience from Portland and Seattle, and I'm part of this national cohort, and how they're reducing some of their red tape out that way and should come back this way. But and it's things like trying to get projects approved and so forth and so on.
So, Project Rebound, a success. Andre Xavier says it was an amazing project, super well organized.
Was he part of it?
Andre, were you a part of Project Rebound? Let us know. He says, thank you, Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm curious to know if Andre's a part of it as well. If anybody watching the show was a part of Project Rebound, let us know in the feed, and we will put your comments on air.
Yeah, definitely, please.
James Watson, Angelique Hawkins Jenkins.
Yeah,
watching the program now.
And that's one of the awesome business owners that we're going to bring on the show on Tuesday, and I can't wait to have her there and see if she'll never give up her secret spices, but. Man, on Friday, I had her fried fish.
Oh, was it good?
Oh, man.
Did you go to the truck?
I went to the truck.
You did go to the truck?
Yeah.
Ooh, tell me about that experience.
Yeah.
The base of Pantops, right by Freebridge.
That's exactly
Across
right.
from Cosner.
But soon to be in
Chris Henry's spot.
And Dairy Central, Market. And we're excited about that opportunity. And I think she's going to do a live shot from there when we do this. But, man... That fried fish was something awful. It was really good, man.
Something good?
Yeah, I mean, it was so good. It was like,
It was so good. Angelique Hawkins, you have good stuff. Beth Dunlop, Marcus, hello. Andre Xavier says, yes, the hospitality sector on Project Rebound.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does.
Tell him, ask him type in what your experience was on.
Yeah, Andre, what was your experience at Project Rebound? We'll relay it on air. And Angelique Hawkins, we cannot wait to get you here. Yonna, your wonderful wife, says, congratulations. Elizabeth Cromwell, bravo, job well done. We also need to give some love to Bill Tucker and Charlottesville Settlement Company.
Just to tell you how good they are. 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call from one of his closers on a closing that's happening as I'm sitting
8 o'clock today?
Yeah, wow. 8 o'clock this morning.
And how'd it go?
Just all about getting it done.
Katie West?
Was one of the closers.
Okay, one of the closers.
But Katie West was involved in it, and Bill Tucker was involved in it, and these guys just make magic happen.
I love it. Christopher Eagle, welcome to the broadcast. You have 5 real estate firms in the area now watching you. We're going to talk some shop. You have a number of agents saying, let's talk housing right now.
Really? Is that what they're saying?
They're saying it right now.
They don't like the Batman Robin routine?
No, I think we still get Batman and Robin from a housing perspective.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a second.
No problem. Angelique says, I can't wait.
Yeah. So we want to talk about sellers and the beliefs that no longer really hold true, right? So if we were probably having this conversation a year ago, some of the things we're about ready to talk to probably wouldn't have floated up to the top on it. And if you could do slide number 4, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So, one... This is a tough subject to talk about, and
we're right. Is
that
what it is?
That's what we're doing. Chemistry's working.
It's working.
Everything's working. Plus, we also talked about it in the
pre-production meeting. That was roughly 90 seconds this morning.
No, it was like 20 seconds.
It was like 20 seconds
because Smith was late. So if you price it high,
I enjoy your company.
Yeah. We got cameras on?
We do.
No.
Sometimes we forget.
We got cameras on. We got this stuff on. My attention deficit syndrome is going nuts because I'm like, where do I go? I'm looking here. It's just a sensory, what is it?
Sensory overload.
Overload. It's like, I got this. I got caffeine. Oh, my God. So, look, if you price, one of the things that sellers are believing in today's market, if you price it high, they will come. So what do you think the answer to that is?
I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and why?
Because that just
let's
goes
see, Let's see if you've been learning.
I have been learning from you. You teach me well, Sensei. You teach me well.
Okay, Grasshopper.
Okay, Grasshopper. You're
what TV show was that
Are you Mr. Miyagi and I'm Daniel LaRusso?
No, Grasshopper was not from that. It was
not from Karate Kid. Give me a hint.
1970s.
Okay, this is before my time. You keep tricking me with stuff before I was born. Okay, so this is
Keith Carradine played the character.
Keith Carradine?
Carradine.
I don't know who that person is.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Can you tell me what it was?
There you go.
There you go.
Alfred gets it.
Alfred.
Did you used to watch that as a kid?
Let's go to the Judah camera, Keith.
Go to the Judah camera. Sorry, people.
We'll get the microphone in front of him so he can say it so people can hear him. Yeah, get the microphone.
Sorry to do that, Judah.
What's the answer, Judah?
Kung Fu.
That's right.
Carradine. He walked the world and saved people. And
that's exactly right. It was in the Old West. It was kind of like a Western / Kung Fu kind of 70s thing.
Was that one of your favorites?
And he had a flute.
He had a flute. He played a flute. That's right.
Oh, my goodness. This guy is good, right?
Yeah. Come on, let's get on the other seat.
Yeah, you want to trade spots? Let's trade spots right now.
No, we do not want Miller.
Miller can do that. Miller can do everything there. All right, let me throw this question to you. No, you asked me a question.
I did.
It's about pricing. Well, it's basic economic sense. If you price something.
But hold it. I'm now a buyer.
Okay.
You're now me.
Okay.
Right? Or a seller, I should say. I'm now a seller.
Okay.
And we've been talking about for months now.
That's a seller's market, limited inventory,
That's right.
and you can sell your house quickly.
That's exactly right.
So people coming in, getting a little greedy.
No.
They want a little meat on the bone.
No. Greedy's a poor choice of words.
Can I say aggressive?
Let's just say that they think their house is worth more than what the market's prepared to pay.
Okay, we can call it that. Okay, they think
I'm trying to keep it.
You're doing it better than I am right now.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense from my standpoint. I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I buy things, in particular real estate, based on comparables.
Sure.
And if I'm looking at price per square foot on today's home versus the neighbor and what else is in the neighborhood, if it's not in that delta, no matter if it has all the amenities, all the shininess, all the granite, all the beautiful Zoom rooms, et cetera, if it doesn't match up by square, I'm out. I'm peacing out. I'm not even going to sniff it, Keith.
So today's buyers, in my opinion, has zero tolerance for overpriced property.
Because they're more sophisticated.
Absolutely. So we talk about this all the time. If I walk in a buyer into your property, how long does it take for them to make a decision on it?
30 seconds?
7 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, immediately.
7 to 10 seconds. And
I'm learning.
In reality, that's 7 and 10 seconds nowadays, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later about some other things that have changed in the market, AKA open houses, right? That 7 to 10 seconds is now online. Right, and it used to be one time. Now I believe NAR says it's 3 times.
3 times online.
Before they actually go see it.
Before they drive by on their own.
Correct.
Oh, then they drive by on their own.
Then they
After they drive by on their own, they call Keith and Yonna Smith and the Yes Team Realtors.
Well, they call
a trusted advisor.
Trusted advisor. They call a realtor to come in there and go ahead and do it. So and that's kind of the first part of it, right? So, and if it's overpriced. And if we'll bounce around a little bit, Judah, if you could put up slide 5, this is per NAR's, National Association Realtors' own statistics on that. And if you end up pricing it right, your eyeballs go up, right? If you're a little bit below market value, just a tad, your eyeballs go up percentage-wise. So when that, you can take a look at that slide as we move things along on the conversation. So. I know you didn't have enough time to study this because I gave it to you late.
Okay.
So there you go. Thank you, Judah. So, the tolerance is there. What's the second thing about overpricing for the market?
What's the question?
So why shouldn't you not do that?
Why should you not overprice it? Besides turning off the people that can potentially buy your home? Mm-hmm. Well, you got me. I mean, it just seems like common sense not to do it.
Well, so we talk about this. There's other than cash.
The appraiser.
There you go.
I mean, if you price it too high and someone agrees on this too high of a price, you're still going to need a dude or a lady to come in and appraise your home and tell the bank that the home is that value.
Yeah, so
and there's nothing that's going to muddy the water more than a house that doesn't appraise. I mean, you talk about messing up a closing, that'll do it.
There's the two big elephants in the room as far as potentially making a deal or a contract go sideways is appraisal and home inspection.
Right.
Home inspection comes first before appraisal, typically. As far as timeline goes. What
I've learned from you. Are you ready?
I'm taking a sip and I'm listening.
And you and Yonna, is you price it at its value or maybe a smidge below. And if you price it almost a smidge below, what's going to happen is every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to say, oh my goodness, this home is priced a smidge below its value. And then what happens?
Yeah, I mean, Zillow and all this kind of great stuff is great to give you some basic.
The Zestimates.
If you actually, it's an interesting thing. Do a Zestimate on your personal house and then pick up the phone and call Yonna and I and let us do an actual market analysis. They're not necessarily the same.
From my experience, the Zestimates on my real estate are higher than the actual value of the real estate.
It could go the other way too.
You've seen lower?
I've seen lower. I've seen higher.
Okay.
Because it's
just a baseline. It's a starting point.
It's not necessarily a baseline. It's just, it's an algorithm, right? There's no actual hands-on and actually doing when he's staring at
people watching on Instagram loving the conversation.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the first thing is the market kind of has a doesn't have the tolerance for that, particularly buyers, particularly the millennial buyers.
Right.
They've done enough homework. They've reached out to their trusted advisors, and they kind of know what the market value is on that. And, the buyer kind of understands now that there's these three folks or three entities required to do a sale, unless it's a cash deal, right? The appraisal kind of drops out of it. And when Yonna and I write cash deals, we actually include that the buyer actually gets an appraisal because we want to make sure that they're not overpaying for the market on the property, but it's the buyer, the seller, and the appraiser or the bank at that case. And if this isn't 2003 or 4 or 5 where appraisals were just matching whatever the contracts are, there is actually there's some. If there's appraisal, if you're overpriced and appraisal's below, then you got to renegotiate. It becomes this complicated thing.
You have 4 current or former car presidents watching you right now, including Michael Guthrie. And Michael Guthrie, the CEO of Roy Wheeler Realty Company, says first impression is definitely now. He's watching. Michael Guthrie, if you look at the set now, you'll notice not only are we streaming this show live across Facebook, but you see 2 tripods in front of myself and the distinguished gentleman where we're positioning the content in front of the I Love CVille Instagram community that's over 12,000 strong. And this week, we add LinkedIn to live streaming where this man's face will be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube streaming. We will put Keith Smith in front of...
That's just a scary thought.
We will put your face and your message and your mission in front of more people than both 11 p.m. newscasts combined.
Well, I wouldn't.
I want you to think about that.
I wouldn't know because I'm sound asleep.
And not only is it not going to be a 15-second soundbite from the newscast, we're going to give him an hour to really drive his message home. That's a lot of pressure for you, Smith.
Yeah. Can I go now?
No. The thing that you have is you are likable, approachable, and we know you have the gift of gab.
Well, thank you. And is this a payback for me embarrassing you on your noon show yesterday when I gave you kudos?
No.
Okay.
No, I genuinely mean it, what I'm saying.
So the next thing is kind of something of my own creation.
Ooh.
So there's this magic window, right?
Okay.
That's part of the reason why you shouldn't overprice a piece of property. And there's this magic window, and let's call it 14 days, but there's a couple of weeks, right? And if you take a look at our pre-production
notes. Got them right here.
Our notes. the proof is kind of in the pudding. I ran the numbers for the last 90 days, and in this 25-mile radius, we talk about Charlottesville, Albemarle, Havana, Nelson, Green, and Louisa. The average days on market is 16. Excuse me, the median days on market is 16. And why is this so important, right? So, why it's so important is to get this price right is you basically got in today's market pretty much from 0 to 14 days to get this done, right? To get eyeballs on and moving this.
To get under contract or to get an offer?
Just to kind of get the energy.
The momentum.
Getting the energy going in the right direction and all that stuff. That doesn't mean contracts might come earlier or come later, but there's this kind of magic window. And then my experience has been, once you start getting outside of that 2 week, because some clients will say, well, let's price it high, let's see what happens for 2 weeks, and cut it. In my opinion, you just lost. Yonna's watching. Those of us who have got some EMT licenses and done some rescue squad work, there's this golden hour, right? So, this first hour when you roll on an accident or something like that to help people get stabilized, help people get stabilized and transported to the hospital, there's this golden hour. Well, this is just like golden 2 weeks. It's in today's market. 2008 was a different number. Right, but today, as homes are moving and selling and all that stuff, and we've got a median sales price a median days on market of 16. That's telling you got to get this right.
You got to get moving.
You got to get it right out of the box.
Right.
And that's a very uncomfortable conversation. Some people don't want to hear that, but facts speak for facts. And to quote Michael Guthrie, who's leaning on it, so I'm totally going to plagiarize and steal his thing. We'd rather sit down with a seller and kind of disappoint them now than on
14 days in. 30 days in,
30 days in,
in
and going, hey guys, we got to lower this, and then all of a sudden they're super disappointed. So, I've totally stole that from Mr. Guthrie. That's one of his famous sayings. Rather disappoint you now than disappoint you later.
Are most of your folks listening to what you say?
We're very fortunate. Yes, the answer is yes. For us.
Okay.
Focus.
Yeah.
I'm focusing.
Focus. Judah will take care of that. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just have to deliver words.
You're doing this on purpose.
No, you just have to deliver words. That's all you have to do. J-Dubs will get you back on set on that Facebook Live for us. Go ahead.
All righty. So we're fortunate, right? Because
you got great clients.
Well, yeah, we've been doing it for over 3 decades, so. Focus, Smith, huh? Okay. Yeah, so we've been doing it for 3 decades. So we're pretty, we know we've got walk in with confidence, and we know what we need to do, and we kind of know how to manage the conversation and help people along. And frankly, from our perspective, if it's overpriced, not only does it affect the relationship down the road, it costs us money. It costs Yonna and I money to go and do this. So it's a business decision from our perspective also. But we're relationship builders, but I'll tell you, very rarely will we have an issue with trying to get it priced right.
Really?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
Very rarely. Olivia Branch has a comment, and this is for you and Elizabeth Cromwell. I was a PR participant with arts and tourism sector on Project Rebound. Very rewarding, excellent format for working together towards positive solutions. From Olivia Branch. Andre Xavier, it was amazing. The entire setup was so professional. The facilitators really did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But the best part was the interaction between us, the private sector, and the public officials. We connected on a human level and had a common goal as a community. Elizabeth is watching, and she says, thank you very much, Andre Xavier, for those kind words. Folks want to know, including your colleagues, your take on the market. How about we start very small window? What happened since the last time we talked on Friday?
Yeah, so I haven't had an opportunity to crunch the numbers. I know from our perspective, we need listings, right? That's why we're talking about pricing, and you could not think of a better time to ever put a home on the market or to buy buy homes. We're lacking inventory. Everybody we talk to, there's no inventory. And again, that's the reason why I came up with this conversation today about pricing and a couple other things I want to talk about is because even though we don't have inventory, you still got to price it right. And the next second thing outside of price is some folks are thinking that they don't need to get their homes fully prepared for the market nowadays, is which we're starting to hear, right? So if it's such a seller's market, why can't I just sell it as is, right? And you can still do that, but here's the issue. More than likely, 99.99% of the time, there's going to be a home inspection contingency attached to it, right? So our opinion and how we coach folks through the sale process is I'm a little bit fortunate. I've got a Class A contractor's license, built a lot of houses. I can look through something.
You can help them.
I can spot things pretty quickly. So, normally we'll have a conversation before we list it. Hey, you should fix this, you should fix that, you fix this. And the pushback we're getting, well, hold it, if you're saying the market is so hot, I'll just let somebody else worry about that. And that's not accurate, right? The buyer is going to get a home inspection. We're going to have to deal with this at some point. So my opinion is to make the transaction move smoother. Let's take a look at this. Let's get a guy in to fix this or fix that, so we know it's done. Put the house on the market, list it, right? Do the listing agreement.
You taught me if you have sprinklers and you're marketing the sprinkler system, make sure the sprinkler system works.
Something like that.
You taught me that. You're like, you want the sprinkler system in the house, and you're appealing to people about the sprinkler system.
Oh my God.
The water should be coming out of the sprinklers.
We'll leave names out of it. We're representing a buyer, and we did the home inspection, and all the smoke detectors were removed from the house. And I was like, really? Just do me a favor. Walk through the house beforehand. Go to Lowe's. You can buy 10 of them for next to nothing and slap them up. Which, by the way, every 10 years you should change out your smoke detectors.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's an important part of people are now thinking, hey, I don't have to make repairs. The other thing is, particularly now since COVID-19, people need to be a little bit thoughtful about the upgrades they're making to their houses. We've been talking about this quite a bit, right? Knock on IKEA, COVID-19 is not going to last forever, right? That there's going to be some sort of resetting of the market, right? Everybody now, hey, cool, let's put an in-ground pool in our house, and it's $100,000, and I'm picking numbers out of it. It could very well be.
Depending on what you do, and what your backyard looks like.
Exactly.
50 to 100K easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
You'll never recover that.
Right, so that's important to emphasize for folks that are watching. Just because you are customizing your home because of this COVID world doesn't mean those customizations will translate to ROI, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
And again, trusted advisors on the feed. There's a ton of them right there. You kind of want to listen. When you pick up that phone and you call a trusted advisor, you call a realtor to come in, and they're kind of pointing you in the right direction. They do this every day.
Is there ROI? There's no ROI on pool?
Yeah. Personally, I don't think so.
No?
No. Pools are one of these things you either love or you hate them, right? There's no middle ground. It's not like taking
It's almost like a boat?
Don't mention boats.
Yeah, he has a boat.
Don't mention boats.
Okay, sorry.
What is it, bring another 1,000?
Right. Is that what boat is?
That's about it, and it's true.
Boat, I just got it. Boat, B-O-A-T, bring another 1,000? Really? Well, what's the O?
I don't know, but it sounded good anyway.
Okay, all right, you're confusing me.
Whatever.
Just like Jeep. Jeep, the acronym for Jeep is just empty every pocket. Like the Jeep brand, because everyone's customizing their Jeeps and tricking them out. Boat, bring another 1,000.
It was close. We just rearranged the numbers a little. I'm dyslexic, so we just flip them around a little bit. It works out okay.
So that's like the pool.
Well, yeah. So, so today, if somebody's going, hey, let's get a pool and yada, 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 a year or two down the line, Lord willing, this is all behind us. It may not be a smart move. Now, kitchen, right?
Oh.
Right.
Master bath.
Yeah. These kind of things. Big thing that we're starting to see a lot of is roofs.
Really?
Yeah.
What, getting the 30 back down to like a 1 and resetting the clock on the 30 for a roof?
roofing.
Yeah, getting the roof better.
Got it.
Redoing the roof.
Yeah. So what we're seeing a lot of is, some of these homes are, 20, 30 years old.
They got 4 years left on the roof.
Or zero.
Right.
So, it's one of these things when you bring in a trusted advisor, they'll kind of take a look around a little bit. Again, I come from a different perspective because I got some expertise in the subject. Hey, maybe we ought to put a roof on it because it's going to come up in
inspection.
Yeah.
And that is obscenely expensive.
Oh, yeah, sure. Anywhere between, 5, 50, depending on the house.
And what kind of roof you pick.
Correct.
We were looking at tin roofs.
Yeah.
You know how expensive those bad boys are?
A little bit.
Yeah. Those are not cheap tin roofs.
Yeah.
But the life expectancy on a tin roof is forever.
Yeah, you'll be in the ground.
Right. Before I get my money back.
I think
that's what I was saying to my better half.
Oh.
But
so who wants the tin roof? You or the better half?
I mean, the tin roof has some appeal.
So I don't know your home, but I would encourage you to, if you have like a front wraparound porch or something.
Don't?
Well, then maybe you ought to add that, put a tin roof on it. Yeah. Because we've got a front porch that has a tin roof on it.
Is it good?
Oh, when it's pretty
You're sitting under and you hear it?
And you rain.
You're having your gin?
Or a cup of coffee and I'm working.
Holding hands with your better half?
Holding hands with my better half, absolutely. So, the fourth item, we actually kind of dovetailed some of these 3 or 4 talking points in together. So, pricing is super important. Get it right. You don't want to languish on the market. If you languish on the market for a while, you'll get all these trusted advisors, all these real estate agents that are watching that are pros, and even the folks looking at looking at Truly or Realtor.com or the MLS. When it's like 30 days, it's like, well, why hasn't it sold? So now you're dealing with why, not hey, I'm in love with your house. Right. So you've got to, and it's just, that's why this 2 weeks is so important. Because once after that, now you're dealing with a whole new problem or a whole new struggle that you're trying to overcome instead of, a roof that's maybe got a couple of years left in it, that kind of stuff. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Your buddy Michael Guthrie says, I stole it from Frank Quayle.
Really?
Yeah, so he sold
that
for Frank
I did not know.
Your message. So how about this question here? Keith, what do you think the rest of the year is going to look like? That's from Long and Foster.
Yeah, I think it's going to look more the same. I don't, I don't see it changing. I don't see the interest rates climbing up. Again, if we all had a magic crystal ball, we'd probably own this island I go to every year, right? So, but the reality of it is I don't see it changing. The election may or may not have something to do with it. I have to, my read on it for what it's worth, I think this machine is rolling, so it's kind of like this aircraft carrier. I don't think it's going to stop on a dime. I don't think it's going to change on a dime. But, if all of a sudden interest rates go, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, go from like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6.
It's still cheap money.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, especially when you did 18 and you're first.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time. My biggest fear is everybody thinks this is now normal, and it's not.
Right.
And it's not. But, it's a simple thing, supply and demand. It's just not enough. And, the employment numbers, I think, are going down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
What would he have to do to get more inventory on the market?
Well, we talked a little bit about that on Friday, right? We brought in Robert Liberty from Portland and trying to push some of the stuff that we're doing out there. Portland is doing and some of the stuff I've been involved with for a couple of years.
How about short term? In the next 12 months, how do we get more inventory on the market? Does it just come down to consumer confidence?
It's exactly that. I think what we're doing here, but Long and Foster and Roy Wheeler and all the other Real Estate 3 and all the other realtors, Keller Williams, Nest, all the other brokerages that may be watching right now, it's just getting the word out. I think it's just a matter of confidence, and I kind of really think I may be wrong, but I think that needles went from north going to the positive side on confidence.
I think so, 100%.
I mean, it took me an extra 10 minutes to get a cup of coffee this morning.
Now, we obviously can't see into the fall season. We don't know what's going to happen in the fall. But I agree, man. I mean, jobless claims this past week did trickle back over 1 million. Sure. But it was still much lower than it was earlier in COVID. We're seeing a lot of reopenings. We know the stock market's doing well. The stock market's not an indication of the overall economy, but there's a lot of positives.
Yeah, the stock market and housing and the economy, I don't think all are connected.
They don't say what's happening on Main Street or on the downtown mall or the corner.
No, but every time I walk down here there's more people in the downtown mall. There's more stuff going on. On 4th Street, some of the shops that had the paper on it. Now I'm watching. There's contractors.
New merchants.
Well, there's contractors working on it,
Yeah.
and following a text from my daughter.
Okay.
This multitasking. This stuff is awesome.
Wait till we add LinkedIn and YouTube.
Dude, I can't even pay attention.
The next time you're here on Friday.
So did you have a conversation with my doctor? Let's help Smith with his attention deficit syndrome.
Jude and I determined yesterday afternoon that. All right, here's what it really comes down to. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm not going anywhere.
For the last 2 years, since we launched this network, we've seen where things are going.
Sure.
And stayed multiple steps ahead of everybody else.
Sure.
So now everyone is just figuring out Facebook Live.
Sure.
They don't have this, they
Sure.
don't have this, they don't have that, but they can put a camera in front of themselves and talk.
Sure.
What we are going to do is not only stream to all the Facebook pages we do, but what happens if we add Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at the exact same time? So while everybody's just basically figuring out how to stream to their own personal Facebook pages, we're streaming to 12, an Instagram, a LinkedIn, and a YouTube.
Yeah, my head just exploded.
It just basically means your mission and your message and your face is in front of a hell of a lot more people.
Well, I gave you kudos yesterday on your noon show when you called me in, so thank you for calling me in, first of all. But, I think the question was asked, to the gentleman from Greene County, which is an awesome shout out to him. They're doing some of this drive-in theater stuff. His name escaped me.
Collie Baggett.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
But you asked him a question. Is what you're doing? Is you seeing there's any way of improving what we're doing with COVID-19? Is impacting? And I meant what I said yesterday. What you're doing with your God, however you recite this whole thing.
Yeah.
I think he's staying in your sleep. We have to ask Mrs. Miller. I bet he does that in his sleep. In his sleep. But you're a visionary. You saw it. It's why 2 years ago I jumped on ship. To be honest with you, you and I have the same vision and goals, and I'm not so sure people want to see this pretty face or listen to what I have to say, but. It's here anyway. Let's see how it goes.
Please pass along to your beautiful youngest daughter that her father is now on Millennial Base Instagram.
She's messaging us as we speak right now.
So she can follow you here on the third largest Instagram in the community, which she encouraged.
She said about time.
Yeah, right. Just tell her, okay, I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry.
Just
all
saying.
the ladies in your life are tough cookies, aren't they? Keith Smith, about time.
Even the cat and the dog.
Even the cat and the dog. Do you have a fish?
Yeah, but I can't tell if it's female. I turn it upside down. I don't know what it is.
I knew that was the joke, but I wanted to hear the joke, Keith Smith.
All right. I think I'm running over here.
Oh, a couple more comments for you. Chris at Crozet is watching. Jerry, good morning. Please pass along to Keith. I very much enjoy this show.
Thank you.
You guys are absolutely hilarious.
Thank you. Hilarious. I don't know about that.
I mean, all we do is we use real estate and life to entertain, right? Isn't that kind of?
I don't know if this is entertaining or not. Literally the premise of the show when I try to convince folks to come on the show, right?
The elevator pitch.
Yeah, the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? I said, look, it's just two dudes
drinking coffee.
Talking
about life.
Talking about stuff.
Yeah, talking about stuff.
And that's it.
Most of the time I forget the cameras are here.
I always forget it, but now with this
except for today.
Except for this, I'm getting like, whoa, this is easy. The peripheral vision doesn't see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 cameras that are staring at us. But this is like, hold it.
Oh man, we got a video coming up. So before we do,
what was that movie Up? Right? Squirrel.
It's
like squirrel. That's what this is doing to me. Squirrel.
Judah's chuckling over there. You get that video ready to go. Before we do, how about a final word from the distinguished gentleman?
Yeah, I just want to go back to Elizabeth and give her kudos. I cannot Judah's going to bury some of these links in the feed. If not, Google the Charlottesville Chamber of Commerce project rebound. Give some reading about it. But everybody's talking about how Charlottesville. All these people are not talking. They facilitated this, and she really was. The chamber was the lead on this.
Yeah,
right?
Liaison.
Yeah,
connector.
She was the one that made the chamber, and Elizabeth in particular was the one that made this happen. She can deflect all she wants, but at the end of the day, she was the one that made this happen. And they're communicating, and to get this award, little old Charlottesville, right? We're third in the country. The world, it's pretty awesome stuff. So I can't wait to see which color we get.
Either way.
One of
Either
three.
way, we're proud.
In one of three, we're getting something.
And by color, he means gold. No, platinum, gold, or silver.
That's exactly
Are
right.
the 3 awards. My friend, you put together a good show. Friday show. What are you thinking?
I think we're just going to be me and you. We're gonna take what we just did a little bit about sellers and twist it on buyers, and my list is a little bit longer for them. So I've got a little bit of work to do between now and Friday to get it ready. But I'll tell you, again, kudos to you guys. 2 years ago, I just thought, me and you would sit here, have a cup of coffee, and BS. I know what you do every day, so I'm giving you kudos to you, your 12 o'clock show and your other shows you do. But it takes me about 3 to 4 hours minimum to prepare for each show. And, I hope it shows that way. Maybe it doesn't.
I think it does.
But,
I think it does. We'll close on this note for you, Elizabeth. Andre says, Elizabeth Cromwell has turned the chamber around in a very positive way. Now the chamber is relevant once again.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
I agree.
Totally.
I agree. Keith Smith, Yes Team Realtors, trusted advisors in the game. I'm talking to you, Instagram, and I'm talking to you, Facebook, soon LinkedIn and YouTube. Keith and Yonna Smith, trusted advisors in the game, buying and selling process. Keith and Yonna Smith, thank you, my friend.
Let me do this back to you. Jerry Miller.
Yeah.
And would you prefer Judah or
J-Dubs.
Or J-Dubs?
I'll take Judah.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that. And Judah, thank you for what you guys do.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Judah Whitcower is our director, guys. Why don't we get that video in 3, 2, and 1.